Welcome back to Reality Ch3ck with Maurice and Rich. So happy to have you guys. Thanks for tuning in. As always, continue to like, continue to subscribe, and check us out because we're going to have some fun and we're going somewhere with this, I promise you. Today's show, there's a few things we got to get through and discuss because there's a lot happening in the college football world. Huge week in sports and in the basketball NBA world. And then we're going to finish up with this thing it's not going anywhere. It's only going to get bigger, but this name, image, and likeness, this is going to be a topic for a while. But first things first, before we get started, OU and Texas are officially leaving the Big 12, exiting the Big 12 where no one plays defense, and they're going to the SEC where a lot of people play defense in 2025. Everyone had different reactions to this. Everyone has different, there's even conspiracy theories on why they think it's happening and what's ultimately going to happen with not just college football, but college sports. But what was your first reaction when you saw, a couple Big 12 teams, big name, historic programs too. Huge names, historic programs deciding, hey, we want to knock on the SEC's door and see if they'll let us in. And the SEC, went through, reviewed it with their board, and were like, yeah, I think we can get that done. What's happening right now?
Oh, just all business, right? So, have you ever been down to Texas?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So when you look at Texas, you look at their fan base. When you look at OU, you look at their fan base. And when they go look at who they're playing in the Big 12, they're like, man, we're playing teams that don't have large fan bases anymore. It just doesn't have the esteem that it has anymore. And we see the revenue that the SEC has with their TV revenue. And we want to participate in because we can bring crowds.
You're saying K-State and Kansas don't have a big football fan base? That's not a shot. My little brother went to Kansas. He was a Jayhawk, Rock Chalk Jayhawk. Love you, Josh. Not a shot at y'all. I'm just saying and a little different than playing Alabama.
Man, the reality of it is the SEC has the best conference in football. They produce basically the best players in the South.
You know we're in Ohio.
Hey, listen to me. I just call it how it is, right?
Be careful.
Listen to me. I went to Ohio State. I played in the Big Ten. And the Southeastern Conference has collectively the best teams and they play the best football. Top to bottom. That's a fact, right?
Yeah.
And I can say that because I've visited every single one of these programs. I went to every school outside of Vanderbilt. And the culture of Southern football is vastly different.
That is true.
And I'll tell you this, right? And people may just not realize this. So we're not saying this for anything else. I remember it was probably the most enlightening moment that I had when I went to Mississippi State. And this when Dan Mullins was there. This had to be 14, 15, I don't know, somewhere within there. Dak Prescott was still a player. And they had went to a bowl game and they were talking, and I was talking to these guys, and I just thought, I assumed since we were all black that we had very similar experiences with growing up, right? Yeah. And I remember a lot of these dudes when we were kicking it, they said, man, look, we have over half of our team of guys who come from towns of like less than like 10, 15,000 people. And, these dudes hunt and these dudes are outdoorsmen. And it was just like mind boggling. And they were like, man, when these dudes come to campus, this is all they have. And I thought how different that was than us people in Ohio where like football isn't everything for people who play football here. Yeah. It isn't like I gotta get off my farm or I have to get out my town or I have to get out my neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? So it was drastically different. And I said, well, I see how these guys have a different level of dedication. I remember when I was in Alabama, they talked about Amari Cooper. They said, man, this dude didn't start driving a car until he went to the Raiders, right? They said like...
He didn't even have a car all through high school and college?
Man, but they talked about just how different these guys grow up down south and how this is the only thing. So when I think of Texas and I think of Oklahoma, I think about my time spent down at LSU, I think about these historic programs, and Texas has lost its esteem playing these bullshit teams. Oklahoma has lost its esteem playing these bullshit teams. How do you get it back? How do you attract better talent? Who is Texas losing kids to? You have to go back and say, okay, we're losing teams to these SEC schools who are coming to say,
and Ohio State.
Yeah, and to Ohio State, come play better football. We're losing them to Oklahoma. They say, these guys are coming and poaching kids from Oklahoma. Yeah. Now, if I'm an Oklahoma coach, I get to say, Jay Richardson, you play at, our esteemed school in Oklahoma. We're going to play the best football, right?
Yeah, we got Bama on the schedule. We got Georgia on the schedule.
So a kid feels like, man, I can go here, I can stay home, my family can come, we can play the best football. And I'm going to be seen. No offense, I'm a full-fledged football fan, Ohio pride, probably one of the the biggest people who came here and stayed here because I had Ohio pride.
No, you bleed scarlet and gray all day long.
But Ohio State is the Big Ten. That's it. There's listen to me.
Especially since Michigan's fallen off.
Here we go. You have
big time.
You have Northwestern. You have I can't even. You have Wisconsin, and I'm not being critical of the other teams, but Ohio State far outweighs the talent in the Big Ten. I'll push it to you.
No. Like, it's tough, but you're right. Ohio. It's almost as if Ohio State's success and separation from the rest of the conference has almost hurt the conference. Because other conferences see us and they go, oh, y'all watered down. After Ohio State, y'all don't have anybody. And, sure, you're going to have years where Northwestern's going to look good. There's even a year every now and again where Purdue, gets lucky and beats us or looks good. Minnesota, I think they're well coached and they play some good ball. But there's no sort of consistency from any other school in our conference where you can say they're going to go and beat a SEC team in a bowl game at the end of the year or get into the playoffs and really make some noise. Other than Ohio State. There's just nobody else. You
need to East and West this thing. You need to go get your Oregons. You need to get your USCs. You need to go get your Notre Dames. You need to go get you need to go get Baylor. Baylor hasn't been swallowed up by this. You need to rethink demographically or geographically how this thing looks in the Big Ten. The Big Ten just ain't. Listen to me. Nobody if football has changed to fast pace. Let's go. Let's run. Let's get up and down this field. Nobody's trying to see the 230-pound tailback run downhill for 4 yards.
For 4 yards
no, bro, it's not. That's over. You know what I'm saying?
Over.
Ohio
State. So
you're
saying in this new modern football, Maurice Claret wouldn't have been Maurice Claret?
No, my style of play doesn't even fit into stuff.
You could have adapted to this.
No, but you know what I'm saying? Like, and we joke a lot, but I'm being serious with this.
Yeah, it's changing.
Ohio State's roster mimics an SEC roster.
Sure.
It's a reason. I guarantee if you go look at...
Well, shoot, half the kids are from Texas and Florida.
Where are you pulling them from? Coming from? The fact of the matter is you need to... Like, if I'm... I don't know who's the commissioner. Is it... what's the guy's name? The Big Ten commissioner. I forget his name. Warren.
Warren.
Yeah, Warren. If I'm him, I really got to have an intelligent conversation and say, man, nobody watching this football no more. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they went and got Rutgers because they thought, oh, we'll get East Coast viewership and all that stuff, but no one really cares that much about college football in the East Coast.
The style of football that has made the Big Ten, that was like this good thing. It's kind of like this, right? We all hated to see Shaq die and Akeem Olajuwon die and Tim Duncan. The death of the big man. But at the end of the day, it's happening. You know what I'm saying? The sports evolve. You need a dude like Justin Fields, who from Georgia, right? Who went to Georgia, right? You need a mobile quarterback. You need you a Lamar Jackson. You need somebody who can run, who can move. You need a whole receiver set. You need some DBs who can run and move, and that's where it is. And until you be honest with yourself and say, look, man, Michigan, y'all got to do better. Michigan State, you have to do better. No offense.
Michigan's killing us.
Who's watching Iowa right now? You know what I'm saying? Iowa can
have people in Iowa City.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. And it's no offense to them, but if you're trying to say we want to be competitive and we want to be known for putting guys in the NFL, and when you go to recruit a kid from high school and you say, man, you can come to our conference, you can bet the best people, that's more or less where it's a deeper conversation.
So let's zoom out. Let's go macro. What are we seeing right now with college football as a whole as the NIL stuff happens, as you're seeing people hop conferences? It's like this thing is slowly turning into something that, would you agree, maybe 8 years from now, it might just be 4 super conferences. It might just be 4 top tier super conferences, and that's how the playoffs will be dictated.
Do you pay attention to the youth sports any? Mm-hmm. So with youth sports, what do you have people? They've deconstructed all of the leagues that used to exist in towns, and everybody plays travel ball. Everybody gets together and they make these super teams. Everybody is manufacturing what they want. Everybody is like, they're making their version of their creative player. Mm-hmm. Conference presidents are making their version of what they want. This thing is going to shift to just larger conferences, right? Because at the end of the day, it comes down to revenue, it comes down to business, it comes down to who has the sexiest product. The SEC is about, in 3-4 years, is going to have the sexiest product. They're going to market it to everybody. They're going to bully all these other conferences and says, why would you go play in that inferior conference if you want to? I'm gonna stop right here. Every kid dream, no matter if they play 1 AA, Division II, Division III, they all want to go where?
NFL, baby.
They all want to go to NFL. and they say in order for you to get there, then they're going to have some stacks because you'll have some little random GA who goes and says, well, 90% of the players in the NFL who have been there for 4 years or more comes from what conference? It's going to say the SEC, right? Yeah. And so they're going to market that to young guys coming up, and the guy's going to say, shit, if I want to go somewhere, if I want to have a chance, right? Even though it's a 1% chance, the best talent is going to shift here, right? So
it's crazy how dramatic it is because it truly, you look at the NFL breakdown, it's really SEC and then,
others.
And then Clemson, Ohio State. That's
where you're coming from.
Everybody's either SEC or Clemson, Ohio State.
So then if you're another conference, you have to say, okay, like, how do I compete, right? I can't compete with what I have. So, okay, who's out there that's independent? Okay, USC has a historic program. Oregon has a Northwest. Notre Dame is sitting right here, right? Iowa State with Coach Matt Campbell, they're a pretty good team, right? Big 12 isn't going to exist like it did anymore. It's kind of like MAC schools. MAC schools don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so then you start to say, okay, who down in the South? Let us go get Baylor. Let us go get TCU. You know what I'm saying? You start to really
Let's
think.
Come together and how can we market this and get viewers from all over to watch our product?
Let's quit playing Las Vegas and San Jose State and Akron. You know what I'm saying? No offense. I've spoken at these schools.
Absolutely.
But when it's time to play football in the SEC from game 1 to game 14, those dudes playing. You know what I'm saying? You're getting competitive.
I would only challenge that every now and again when you'll see Bama in the middle of November play like the School for the Blind. Or they'll play like one of these little weird schools that they'll beat the damn brakes off of 80-something to 0. And you'll be like, hold up.
You need 2 bye weeks. You need your regular bye. To me.
They're going to schedule a bye week now.
An active bye.
Season too.
Because we're about to go play for a championship.
True.
So let's go get Clemson. You know, saying Ohio State. Hey, we've been adversarial for a number of years. Can we go get Miami?
So we've been hearing about talks.
Here we go. Miami, Clemson. I'm talking about notable programs that you can add together. Miami's been down for a few years, but you can really pull a Miami team together.
They're still getting good athletes.
They can always go get good athletes from there. Miami, Clemson, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Baylor, TCU, USC, Oregon. You know what I'm saying? And you can, those are reputable people who you can, like, let's go ahead and
group together and package that up.
Man, what else you going to have? Who you going to, Minnesota has a good program. PJ Fleck has been good, but I guarantee you somebody's going to steal PJ Fleck.
So at a later show, we're gonna discuss what all this means for the NCAA. Because that's the biggest question, right? As these conferences, as these teams all come together like Voltron to form this massive super conference here and super conference there, and now you have these, because 10 years from now, this is all the landscape of collegiate sports is going to look very, very different.
Yes,
and I think we can both agree that, and it's going to leave some teams out in the cold, and leave some teams having to make some tough decisions. I think down the road, Ohio State might have to make a tough decision on what do they want to stick around in this conference that is slowly, I don't want to say dying out, but it's not what it was in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. You know, this is not,
okay.
And a lot of that's, I blame Harbaugh for a lot of that, man. He really messed up your program.
But before we transition, in the last 10 years, like, who's dominated the conference?
No, it's been Ohio State.
Okay.
By a mile and a half.
By a mile and a half. Who sent all the top-tier talent?
Ohio State.
Okay. Who has guys, like, notably playing on Sundays?
Oh, absolutely Ohio State.
So you sit to yourself and you say, man, we've dominated our conference, but when we've played these other guys, these other teams, late in the season, we've got our ass handed to us.
Okay, now hold on.
Oh, no.
It's been competitive games. They beat Clemson last year.
We could go, okay.
Bama was just better last year. I mean, we can all agree. Bama
we beat Bama for the championship.
We beat Bama for the championship
Okay.
and Oregon that year.
But okay.
Ohio State's always been competitive against anybody in the country.
It's been competitive, right? But you before we transition, I say myself, let me speak for myself. I say
I'm gonna defend my guys now.
I'll say if we would play more competitive teams earlier or more consistently, that it wouldn't be much of a shock late in the season.
I see where you're going.
That's what I'm talking about.
So I've said this on air, on ABC. You guys tuning in, make sure you check out the Football Fever on ABC6 this fall, every Saturday morning before the game and post game. But what I have said, and I got to agree with you here, Maurice, is especially after the first time we had lost to Clemson a couple years back, I said, man, that's the problem with what Ohio State has right now in its conference. You beat the damn hell out of all of these shitty schools. And I don't, no disrespect to anybody's school. I know you love your alma mater if you went to, Purdue or you went to wherever in the Big Ten. But you beating the hell out of all these shitty schools and you beating on your chest while you're doing it. And you go into the playoffs feeling pretty damn good. Or even before the playoffs, you go into the Michigan game and you're like, this is the big rival. And then you drag them and you're like, oh yeah, we're really that good. And you're looking at the ranking all year long, and the ranking saying either 1 or 2. It's either us or Bama all year long, us or Bama or Clemson, whatever. But the top 3 is always going to be the same damn top 3. They'll sneak Georgia in there, here and there to make them feel good about themselves. But it's the same top 3.
It's the same top 3.
Sure enough, you get into the playoffs, and you play some real-ass motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And you play a team that I'm not saying you can't beat, but you haven't been prepared to beat. You haven't been conditioned to beat. You haven't seen that level of athleticism
It's a different
week
mentality.
in and week out. So your mind's not set for it.
Yep.
And like you said, shock to the system in that first quarter. It's like,
Yes.
oh shit. And it takes too long to adjust. And before you know it, who's the Heisman winner last year? The little skinny fast dude from Alabama.
I don't know why I forget his name.
Devin
Smith. Something like that.
Before you know it,
feel
this
bad,
little
too.
crackhead running around like a damn crackhead, making us look, running routes on our linebackers.
Balling.
And we can't figure out how to adjust.
No.
And now I got to go and try to defend that on camera. You're making the job hard, man. Let me tell you. So we agree that Ohio State is a victim of its own success in its conference. Yes. And we're going to either need the conference to get stronger or on a long enough timeline. I can't believe I'm saying this, but you may see Ohio State make some tough decisions.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Who knows?
I don't know. What we got next?
Well, listen. So I've been meaning to ask you. I know you think that you are this basketball god, right?
Savant.
Right.
I'm a hooper for real. But I also know ball, baby.
Okay.
I like.
Okay. So where's
By the way, y'all, he challenged me months ago, all on social media, to play one-on-one. Crickets since then. But go ahead.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Here we go. So I'm going to ask my man how you feel, and I'll tell you how I feel after. But how do you feel with my man, the notorious? I don't know why he makes me laugh all the time, but your main man Russell Westbrook joining AD and LeBron out west. And 2 questions, like a healthy squad, a rested squad.
You gotta assume that first.
So look, here we go. They're healthier and they're rested from the championship that they won in the bubble down in Florida, and they're well rested because they didn't go deep into the season. So you ask yourself, like, what does that mean, or how do you feel, or what are your thoughts in regards to my man Russell Westbrook joining?
Oh, man. So I had a lot of thoughts about this. Let me just start by saying I initially did not like it. This will surprise people. It's draft night. NBA draft happened this week. It's draft night. And then I start, you scroll. We all do it. Scroll down our feed.
You see it.
And we start seeing Russell Westbrook in talks with the Lakers. They're talking. All of a sudden, Adam Schefter tweets. And I thought he was a football guy. He tweeted about basketball.
Yeah.
Lakers nearing a deal for Westbrook. And I'm like, what is that? Like, hold on, is this for real? And then all of a sudden, 2 hours later, the trigger's pulled. It's a done deal. Russ is going back to LA where he's from.
From there, yep.
And, played at UCLA. Still, I don't care what anybody says about Russell Westbrook. He's the most explosive, athletic point guard
ever
we might have seen in this league.
Ever.
At 6'3", and to be able to do the things he does, man, amazing. So what I'm about to say is not taking nothing from Russ. I think I love Russ's mentality. He a dog. He can defend, triple-double king the last couple of years. Some will say those are watered-down stats. I don't care. You know how hard it is to get triple-double? The average at the end of a damn NBA season? You crazy? Like, a point guard averaging 11 rebounds. Like, come on, man. 11 assists. Like, that's wild. So he brings his own package of shit to the deal. Like, you know what you're getting with him. And he doesn't cheat the people. He shows up every night to play. One thing I love about him, and he has this in common with LeBron, particularly young LeBron up until this year, only because of injuries, but LeBron always shows up to play.
Puts on a performance.
Puts on it because he has a lot of pride in his brand. And he knows people are short to see him. Yeah. They're not showing up to, I'm not going to Lakers games, and I don't want to see you. And he understands that, and that's part of his brand. So I dig that about him. I didn't like it because Russ can't shoot, man. I could take you guys through his 3-point percentages, career, and last season, even with Bradley Beal, who's an offensive, monster. I mean, that dude can put up points, and they both put up points. Russ struggles shooting from the 3-point line. Russ struggles shooting mid-range late game, and Russ, like LeBron, not amazing from the free throw line, particularly late game. They'll have some misses here or there. Here's why this just made me think, I know it's a box office. It's going to grab headlines. Everyone's going to talk about it. It's going to be a big thing coming in, to September, October for the NBA is, man, now the Lakers have a big three, and we know what we all want to see, right?
Everybody wants to see.
What do we all want to see? We thought we might get it this past year, but because they rushed it after the bubble, half the guys, the superstars in the NBA were hurt. So you had KD without any of Kyrie, without James Harden going against Giannis, and they lose because his damn foot's so long that when he hit that three, his foot was on the line.
Yeah.
If the nigga didn't wear size 18s, he might have had a crack at being whatever. And then you seen AD go down, LeBron playing hobbled, KCP was hurt, and then the Lakers, lost in the first round to the Suns. The point of what I'm saying all that is, injuries aside, if all things are equal, and everyone stays healthy, we got a good idea. It should be LA versus Brooklyn. And nobody wants that more than me. Oh, my God.
Everybody does.
Nobody wants to see LeBron. I know they're not nemesis. They might even be friends that we don't know about, but in the public eye, they are nemesis, LeBron and Kyrie. They take shots at each other subliminally.
I think it's serious, though.
Right? They take little digs here and there, and then we know how Russ is when it comes to KD. Them boys talk wild. I
think they're real friends, though.
Right?
Yeah,
I think they're friends, but man, on the court, you would think they're about to square up after the game. Now, when it comes to AD and Harden, them boys seem like they just cool. They just cool.
It is what it is,
right?
Yeah, no doubt.
But we want to see these matchups. Here's why I'm not sure LA makes it out of the West with the team as it's assembled, and it's still early. They're making some moves, but they had to get rid of Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, their best perimeter shooter last couple seasons really. He's Bron's, go-to guy. Go hit a three for me, though. I need you. Everyone knows this about LeBron James. He plays best when you surround him with shooters. Miami, you surrounded him with Ray Allen, Dwayne Wade I won't label a shooter, but he can get a bucket. Chris Bosh turned into actually a pretty good three-point shooter out of necessity because he just ended up being a stretch five, so he'd go out there, hit shots. And then he had Mike Miller when they won the championship. Mike Miller was crushing threes. Yeah, man. Like, when you give Bron shooters, the game looks so easy.
Because he draws double teams.
He draws instant doubles. He puts it right in the guy's shooter pocket, and they just feel comfortable. And he gives his teammates this confidence about it.
So for the average, he's 6'8", runs like a train, can pass out the world, can draw a double team.
And brilliant.
Hold on. And then you have somebody who can shoot, who's open. You know what I'm saying?
When guys who play with LeBron catch the basketball, the nearest person's like 10 feet away because everyone's helping because LeBron can score at will. And that's why if you like me and and I know you know him, but when you're a fan of LeBron, it can be frustrating sometimes because you hate to see him pass so much because you're like,
he can do what he wants to.
No one can stop you. Even at 30-6 this year, there were times in the season where when he just I gotta get a bucket, he would just go and muscle and bully and just lay it up, and you're like, do that every time. Yeah. But I understand having to manage your energy. I understand you can only give out so much energy. So here's what I think LeBron is maybe thinking. I'm not trying to, I don't know LeBron.
Your opinion.
But my opinion of what he might be thinking. Hey, I know what it takes once I get into the playoffs to get us, down the home stretch. I need a guy that has unlimited energy. That's definitely who Russ is, who can get us there. I don't have to be the guy who dominates the basketball the entire game. We saw with Rajon Rondo, he felt very comfortable letting Rajon Rondo, orchestrate the offense, and Bron can play off ball. That's the skill set of a veteran player, a guy who understands the game at his level. He doesn't have to dominate the ball. We know he likes to, and he likes to be the decision maker, and we'd all rather him be the decision maker because I don't want Russ making decisions late in the fourth quarter in a tight game. Because Russ, he gonna just jack up threes or he's impulsive. But maybe LeBron's thinking, you know what? I had the best three-point percentage on the team after KCP last season. I hit over 100 threes, the only guy in the Lakers to be doing that last season. Maybe I'll let Russ get us through the regular season. Maybe I defer to him and AD. AD, man, you've had a whole damn year, by the way, AD, to get healthy. And you better be ready to go in October, boy. You better be ready to rock. And maybe he's thinking, AD, Russ, y'all get y'all chemistry going. I'm Bron. I don't have to do a whole lot other than just, hang out on the wing. I'll draw instant double. I'm going to kick it to y'all. I'm going to let Russ get cooking. And then when the playoffs start, that's when I'll impose my dominance and remind everybody. And I hope that's what he's thinking. The only flaw to that is when the playoffs do start, everyone knows the court shrinks. And now you got to be able to create mismatches, and you got to be able to knock down open shots if you get them. My biggest fear is a big game against the Clippers. Let's say Kawhi finally gets back healthy off that ACL, and they got PG, and they got whoever else they're going to bring in. They just traded Shamet, but they'll make some moves. And, Bron has his hands full with Kawhi and PG, and Russ is guarded whoever, and AD is doing what he has to do, but they need someone to knock down shots. Who is that person going to be?
Yeah,
And that makes me nervous.
Yeah, I don't think that they're done assembling their team. I think that with Russell Westbrook, you bring a different pace to the team.
Yeah.
Because he's definitely going to bring energy. He's going to bring grabbing that ball off the glass, flying down court itself. And I think that he adds that dynamic. And LeBron being a little bit older, I don't think it's in you to do that for 82 games after, after what is it, 17, 18 years. That's a long time.
You don't want to run like that, though.
No, it's just your body and just all the years that he's been doing that. But another thing I was like, the dynamic in which LeBron can score now is your three. It's let me grab the ball on the wing and shoot a jumper in your face, and let me drive to the hole every once in a while when I feel like it, right? And AD kind of where he scores or where he gets the majority of the points only sticks in certain places, right? And so you ask yourself, like, who else do you have that can legitimately go get you 20 or 30 points just off the ball, off the dribble, and you really didn't have that. You know what I'm saying? And so you go look at these guys who won in Milwaukee, they had two guys like that. You know what I'm saying? Chris Middleton. What is the other guy's name?
J-Rue Holiday.
J-Rue Holiday.
You had Middleton and you had Giannis. Any of them can go for 30.
So AD is Giannis. LeBron can do what Middleton does. You follow me?
I see what you're saying.
And so, but you need that other element of somebody who can give you a solid 20, 30 points, and he can play defense. You know what I'm saying?
So,
go ahead.
I like where you're going with that, because here's what I'll say. The one thing you're going to get better at now, having Russ to team up with AD and Bron, is you're going to have the defense. Russ can defend on the perimeter. Russ can stay in front of the other team's point guard. You know what I mean? I don't worry about. So I like that. AD can defend everybody. AD can defend getting off the bus. AD going to block shots before he even get on the court. A healthy AD is still a superpower in this league. A healthy AD is still a monster. And maybe you build it around, hey, Russ, you're going to start the game, but about 3 or 4 minutes in, we're going to swap you out, let Bron and AD do what they do. And by the way, we've been hearing that Carmelo Anthony is in talks with the Lakers right now. Everyone's talking about, that might be a done deal. He would take a league minimum deal to play with Bron.
So get the championship.
You know what I mean? Want to crack at it, kind of like, Carmelo and Gary Payton joined the Lakers in their career, trying to get them one. Didn't work out. But I think Carmelo is actually a solid piece coming off the bench. Pair him and let Russ run that second unit. Give them a spark, give them some energy, and Russ can dribble in, create mismatches, and kick it out to Melo. One thing we know Melo can do is spot and shoot.
He can shoot.
The boys are knocked down. I mean, he can. I like that. I don't mind that. And like you said, they're going to add some other pieces. They're not stupid. They did this move for a reason. And if LeBron okayed this move, because no moves are going to happen
without him.
Without Bron's okay. No. I don't care. Nobody say he ain't Aaron Rodgers where they do things and they don't tell him. Oh no, everything runs
through him,
through the GM. So Pelinka, no disrespect, but this is Bron's deal. I think Bron has a plan, and I'm anxious to see, because I'm you know me, I love hoops. I just want to see the final roster on day one. Who they end up on that roster? They're going to find a couple shooters somewhere, or they might have a guy in camp they feel good about now and go, no, you know what, we're going to hold on to this kid. And I think Taylor and Horton Tucker actually is going to be an underrated piece. So we'll see. This is going to be interesting.
We'll see.
Listen, that's all for today. As always, continue to like, subscribe, check us out, share everything you're seeing. We got some fantastic, not just information, but motivation, and also some really cool stories we'll be digging into this week and in coming weeks. Until next time, folks, this has been Reality Check. Maurice and Rich, we appreciate you. We out.